Take two, and what's going on? Man knows football. You're here with Guni and my guy Danny. But before we continue, please do not forget to like, share, subscribe. Danny's social details and all of his channels and all of that good stuff is going to be in the description. So make sure you check that out, subscribe and support my brother. But anyway, Danny, what's going on?
What's good? Hey, yo, thanks for having me on, dude. Big fan of what you got going on here. I am a huge fan of the footballs. So I'm ready to talk some shit, man. I've been dealing with so much banter from all these Chelsea fans. I don't know what to say. But I'll tell you what, though. I'm excited to be on here. You can call me Danny Brawner. You can find me on Binge Society podcast. You can find all that information in the description, like man said. But when I'm on this channel, you can call me Dan Knows Football.
Okay, so Danny, let's just introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are, where you're from, obviously what team you support, that wrong decision you made in Manchester United.
Yeah, man. And it was a decision I made. A lot of my sporting decisions, like that was passed on to me from my father. This is one that I made on my own. And I don't know if you caught on yet, but I'm not British. I'm not a UK local. So this is not some like strange regional accent. This is New York, Harlem, America. I'm a Mank Yank till I die. You can see on my head here. We got the little devil over here. We got another one over here supporting the Glazers, even though I don't want to. But I'll tell you what, man, I only got into football, I want to say around 2002. So I would say like I'm a late bloomer in that regard. I was like in high school. But my love for this team is unrivaled. I grew up with the New York Yankees. That's like a Real Madrid style team. And then also for like American football, New York Jets, not quite as much. New York Knicks, not quite as much. Those are the teams I came up with. But around 2002, I fell in love with Manchester United. Basically, the rest is history. I'm following day in, day out the summer transfer window. I'm watching under 23s. I'm looking at the rumors, the transfer rumors. I want to know what we're doing in every single game. I'm listening to fan channels. I've got so many opinions, man. I just can't wait to talk shit with you.
The good thing is, man, is there's a platform here for you to voice all them opinions, man. And we're more than happy to have you on the show. But you know what we're here for. The main event that's going down this weekend is Manchester United versus Chelsea. Boy, I'm looking forward to this one. It's a different Chelsea team that you're going to come up against this time. What are your thoughts on the game?
That's a very complex question for a Manchester United fan to answer at this point, because it's been, but for you guys as well, it's been a very complex, upsy downsy kind of season. You know what I'm saying? We've got a lot of injury issues right now, which I'm concerned about. Cavani is injured. Pogba obviously injured. Van de Beek, who hasn't really been getting much burn, he's been injured as well. We even saw like the likes of Dan James, who, I'm not a huge fan of, but he went down injured in the Europa League. That has me concerned. And then like Chelsea as well, our performances, you never know which Manchester United is going to show up, right? We might come out of the gates running, gunning, flying high, but lately the offense has been really lacking. Martial has had a really rough season. Rashford, although he has really good statistics, he's been a frustrating player to watch and he goes missing in certain games. Bruno as well, he's liable to pull off an amazing pass, but I'd say over the last month or two, the consistency in doing sort of the simple things throughout the entirety of a game, he's been a little bit frustrating as well. So it could go any number of ways, but if I'm really like gun to my head, what I think is going to happen, we might have another like sort of 0-0 stalemate sort of situation. And I don't want that, but that's better than getting spanked up in the joint, which is a distinct possibility as well. Because Tommy Tickles we've seen a new Chelsea side these last few weeks, haven't we? How do you feel about Tommy?
I'm very happy with Tuchel. He's kind of come in, he's hit the ground running. He's got the players actually playing with some kind of cohesion, some kind of understanding. The players look like they're actually enjoying their football, and that's what really we've been wanting to see as Chelsea fans. And even more important, we've not been conceding goals. And if you're not conceding goals, you're more likely to pick up points on the board. So for the first time actually in a while, I feel like going into this game, we are going to come away with something, because the previous games, especially in the Premier League, because your record is so good against us recently,
wasn't always like that. This is for like the first time in a decade. We'd get like a little bit here and there over like the 2010s.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've had our spells of dominance. At the minute, even Manchester United included, I'm sure you can agree that we're all still at this funny transition stage where we're trying to get back to where we used to be. You know what I mean? How do you feel your progress has gone so far in terms of, let's kind of keep it to since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come into Manchester United? How do you feel the progress of your club has gone so far?
So, yeah, I'm really glad you asked me that question because one of the things as a United fan and within United fans is so much division and so much divided opinion on individual players, but none more so than our opinions on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I have been an Ole proponent from day one. I was singing Ole's at the wheel. I was saying give him time. And there's so many criticisms about Ollie. Some of them are legitimate, but one of them that I think is the most illegitimate is that we have not made progress. We have absolutely made progress under Ollie overall. Well, first of all, you could just look at the table. We're in second place. Hello. Previously to that, we just made top four, but we got into the top three. Whereas before, we didn't make the top four when he was first taking over as caretaker manager. So that's progress right there. But you can't just look at the table, right? You have to look at the run of play. You have to look at how games actually are proceeding. And I've seen Ollie make the sorts of changes you want him to make. People talk about how, like, he has no tactics. That's absolutely mad. How could you say that? And he's beaten PSG twice. He's beaten PSG twice. And we should have beaten them in the Champions League before if Martial could finish his dinner. And then obviously we saw the performance against RB Leipzig. We've seen him beat basically every top manager in existence. I don't know if there's anyone left at this point. I mean, who's left? Who's left at this point? So we have absolutely made progress. There is more progress to be made. I think that fans need to recognize the lack of support we've had from the board, which is very much a different tale from you guys. You got literally 75 players this transfer window. Is that correct? I think I have the correct.
I lost count. It was a massive rebuild, though.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be getting anyone this transfer window. We got Cavani as sort of a desperation buy who's really worked out. But that, that was not the plan A. Sancho, we were going in for him for 17 months and came up empty-handed. And, I'm not very hopeful as far as who we can acquire in this coming summer transfer window. We'll probably end up with Peter Crouch for 80 million or something like that. He's going to get it there, do the robot. But I've seen a good amount of progress. I think where I want to see progress is making changes in the middle of the game when you need to, adjusting, not waiting to make a substitution in the 70th, 80th minute. And the thing that's been bugging me lately is the center back situation. Combination of Harry Maguire and Lindelof has been an absolute nightmare. We keep on leaking goals. That is just inexcusable. And at this point, passing the eyeball test, every time Bailly has played with either Lindelof or Maguire, we have looked so much better. That's where I want to see him making that progress as far as personnel decisions. Other thing is the manner in which we've been leaking goals has largely been coming from set pieces, corners, free kicks, especially in tight situations at the end of games. It's been so frustrating. That's down to coaching, where you can really point at something. And when you're conceding that many goals from set pieces, that comes down to coaching. That's not individualism right there. Is he the guy? Time will tell, but it's definitely too soon to assume that he's not the guy. There's no way anyone can definitively say that we can't win under Ollie. We can. Look what happens when we get quality players. When we got Bruno, we skyrocketed in terms of progress. If you had told me we'd be in second place at this point of the season, I would have ripped your arm off.
Yeah, if we're being real, I can totally relate to what you're saying. You did mention about personnel. So going back to the game this weekend, who would you like to see start in your lineup against us?
So right back is an easy decision. It's the easiest decision in the world. We're going to go with AWB Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's had an up and down season as well. He was arguably player of the season last year, but he's had some issues with his passing. And I don't know if maybe this is going back to coaching as well. We've been seeing fullbacks tuck in a lot and just basically be nuts to butts with the center back. I don't really understand what's going on. Conceded a lot of goals from that, and I just don't really understand that. But anyway, I would certainly go with a combination of Bailly and Maguire. Is he going to do that? I sincerely doubt it, especially on the heels off of a Thursday night game going into Sunday. But that would be my absolute wish. Luke Shaw has been killing it. This man got so much hate, especially after that leg break however many years ago. It was a long...
Yeah, it was horrible.
And at the start of that season, he looked our best player. And in the last 2 seasons or so, he's been in around the top 5 best players that we've had. And he's really answered the call to competition in the way of Alex Tejes, who's been, it's been good to have him around as a squad player. But Luke Shaw has been streets ahead of him. And then I'm going to go with Spanish Dave and Net. I know there's been a lot of controversy. We want to see Dino, but for me, it's David De Gea. I'm not resting on the laurels of the past. I think for a major part of this season, he's been very, very good. And he's had a couple of howlers, I'm not going to lie, but I would still trust him between the sticks. In midfield, so it depends on who's available. I think we have to go with McFred. Fred has been really good this season. You know, he has his limitations. McTominay as well has his limitations, but they've both very much overperformed this season. I've been very happy with them. I think there's a little bit of a horses for courses. I don't think they should be playing week in, week out, but their tenacity, their ability to intercept the ball and recycle it, applying the press. You want to see some better passing out of the both of them, but I would go with those two. Obviously, the top of the three-man midfield, we're going to have Bruno. And then for our front three, if we're a full healthy squad, I would love to have Cavani up front, Rashford on the left. I probably would put Greenwood ahead of Martial just because Martial's confidence has been so low. But since we don't have Cavani, we're going to put Martial up front. I'd have Rashford on the left. And then, Greenwood on the right. I know that there's some concerns with width with that, but I think really we just need that striking capability. We need a goal threat. That's where the difference needs to come from.
The lineup that I'd actually would like to see, obviously Mendy in goal. I don't want to take no risks. I don't want to see Kepa in goal for this one because that just sends my anxiety through the roof. That whole Kepa experiment thing, I understand why they've played him because you've got to put him on the market. You've got to keep his value to a certain, we've already lost a ton of his value. We've got to try and keep some. So 1 or 2 good performances is good for that, but definitely not against Manchester United. I think we're going to go with the back three because that's been Tuchel's preferred lineup. Well, I'm going to start with the wing backs actually. I would like to see Marcos Alonso start. I'm going to go on record again to say Marcos Alonso as a wing back is one of the best wing backs in Europe. No one can tell me none. As a left back, he's one of the most catastrophic left backs in Europe. It's a tale of extremes with this man. So I would definitely like to see him there because I think going forward, he is a huge threat. I think he's going to give Aaron Wan-Bissaka a lot of work. I mean, in terms of pace, he lacks, but just that that technique that he's got, I think there's enough in there for him to give AWB a tough time. In that right wing position, I'm going to put Reece James there. I love Reece James. I think he's fantastic going forward. Defensively, he can be suspect, but that back three is the insurance there. But going forward, the balls that he can deliver, the threat that he has, we all know his qualities. And I think, again, he could be a threat as well. So those wing back positions are going to be quite important for us. The back three, I would like to see Thiago Silva if he's fit. I would like to see Zuma, and I'd like to see Christensen. Whether that happens, I'm not too sure.
So no Rudiger then?
Rudiger for me, listen, I've got to give credit where it's due. Recently, he's been good, but he still gets me nervous. There's still a few mistakes in him where I feel he might cost us a game. He's been lucky recently. He's been getting away with a few errors. If I was to see those 3 guys fit, I'd definitely start them ahead of Rudiger. But not to say he's been performing terribly. I wouldn't be upset to see him there. I'd start with N'Golo Kante. I would also start with Kovacic, and I'll start with Mason Mount. Those 3, for me, since Tuchel was coming, have worked really well. Kante, granted, hasn't been starting games. He's been coming off the bench and he's been playing. For me, Kante is Kante, and especially a game with so many talented attackers like Manchester United have, you've got to have him there to shield that defence.
And I think also with the sort of lack of quality we've had in terms of our passing, that he would really be chomping at the bit he would be breaking up a lot of that passing, and he would be recycling a lot of those errant passes.
Exactly. I mean, if we can stick him on Bruno and we can try and keep Bruno quiet, that would also be great. Not that it's going to be easy. Bruno's a very intelligent player. He's got more than one way to play football. But, I mean, it will still help to have a man like N'Golo Kante to try.
No Brazilian little George?
My issue with Jorginho is he's not dynamic enough. In the games where we've played you and lost, especially under Frank Lampard, our midfield has been a huge problem. We haven't had good transition in between that midfield. If you notice, the players that I picked, arguably aside N'Golo Kante, are very press resistant, and you're going to need that against Manchester United. Kovacic under pressure is fantastic. He gets himself out of small spaces. My only concern with him is sometimes he holds the ball too long and he doesn't make the pass when he should. Aside from that, he's fantastic in little space. We need that against you guys. We need press resistant midfielders who can play the ball forward and play our attackers through. Kovacic and Mason Mount are the 2 men to do that job. In front of them, I'm going to go with this. Callum, I'm going to start him on the left left wing. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, but he's been playing right wing back all season. Yes, I personally don't want to see him play there, but I think his confidence is coming up enough and we've seen enough technical ability for him to play that position and do well. Tuchel puts him in that position and gives him the license to play the football that we know Odoi can play. We're going to see chances being created, hence what we saw at Atletico Madrid. That was at right wing back. Imagine further up the field now. Do you know what I'm saying? So I definitely start with him. I would have Giroud up front. I want to give Pulisic a go. I want to give him a chance because every time he's come on, he hasn't looked good, but I do feel that it's a confidence thing because there's a player in him. When levels like that drop, it doesn't mean that the player is finished. To me, it just means that it's a confidence thing. If he has a good game against you, he could be the man of the match for us and the decisive factor. So that's my lineup that I would choose. Match predictions for this weekend. So what do you reckon the score is going to be?
So if I had to put money on it, I would go for a 0-0 or 1-0. But there's no money involved. There's only my heart, which doesn't involve much of my brain. So I'm gonna say 2-1 to United because I can't come on a football channel and not predict United to win.
I was actually going to say 2-1 Chelsea. That's crazy. So we both got 2-1. We're rooting for each other's teams. Well, no, not each other's teams. We're rooting for
Whoa. Yeah, teams. Clip that.
2-1 Chelsea. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so 2-1 Chelsea. Danny says 2-1 Manchester United. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, please check out Danny's material. All of his stuff is in the description. All of the social media links, YouTube channel, all of that you're going to find in the description. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Danny, again. Hopefully, we're going to see you much more on the show. I'd love to have you here on a regular, man.
Love to be back, man. Thanks for having me.